welcome to the kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Lambeth cake or a vintage cake or a ruffle cake. They're called many things. This cake is really popular, very trendy. It's been on trend now for a few years and it ain't showing any signs of going away. Loads of people have messaged me asking to see more of it. I've done it before on this morning, so I showed them how to do the piping, but literally you only get a few minutes, so people don't get really to see how to plan it, how to do it. So let's get started. I've got my cake here. It's been layered up, filled, crumb coated and second ice. And if you'd like to see the video for how to make them or do that, there's one there, something like that. Dan will work it out. Think about marking out your cake so you get equal sections of piping, because there's nothing worse than if you see one of these cakes and people haven't really planned it, they don't really know what they're doing, and they've got the sort of swag frill bits that go around and they're not the same size. Sometimes they come down lower than the other one and it just looks a bit off. Just by doing this planning, it's going to make it look way better. So you need a piece of baking paper, and what I'm going to do, make sure I've got it going the whole length of the cake. So this cake has been chilled, so it's set firm. Make sure you do work on your cake when it is cold from the fridge so that you can do this without damaging your buttercream. I'm going to cut it to a bit longer than I need to start with, just so I can then get it exact. So I'm just going to cut this roughly the exact height of the cake. Like that. I need to cut it to here. So that's the exact circumference of my cake. And it's important to take these steps at this point. It might look a bit of a faff, but you'll see the result is worth it. Preparation is key, as I always say when you're doing celebration cakes. So this cake is an 8-inch cake, and I think it looks nice to do sections of 6. If you're doing a huge cake, like a sort of 12-inch one, you might want to have like 12 dividers. Fold the piece of paper in half. So now I need to fold this in 2/3. Just try and get it as equal as you can. There we go. So that's now into thirds. And then I'm going to open it out. So that's my 6 equal sections. Now what I need to do is I need to cut a U in it so that I can mark it out. Nearly forgot to do the most important bit. If you imagine, what I'm going to be wanting to do is scribing on the cake to give me my swag marks. So I'm just going to cut a U, fold it in half again. I'm not going to crease it. I want my U to come like about halfway down the cake. I'm just going to cut. Like that. It's like making a party hat, isn't it? And then, so at the moment that looks a bit like a sort of extreme V. It takes a while to kind of get the soft sort of curve, so I'm just going to take that curve a little bit wider out. So there you go. So that's kind of giving me a bit more of a guide there. So now, happy birthday to me. So you can see that lines up perfectly. I'm literally just going to use a couple of bits of sellotape and just secure it there at the back. Isn't that impressive, Dan? You can use a pin tool or the end of a sharp knife. I'm just going to use this kind of end of my modelling tool here, this scriber. I might have to put on my glasses for this because I want to be exact. Just hold it down, just literally run my modelling tool over the buttercream light there, just above. And do that all the way around the cake. Just to say a shout out, Lily Vanilli, a friend of mine, she does, this is the whole thing her bakery does. They are the experts at Lambeth Cakes. Right, so off that comes, and now you can see we've got our marking out. I'm going to go for the same colour all over this. There's lots of different ways you can do it. You can use different colours if you want to. I quite like it when they're all in one colour. So I'm going to get all my buttercream softened and I'm going to load up my piping bags, and that actually takes longer than decorating the cake. So we'll come back when I'm fully loaded. Right, okay guys, so I'm all ready.
Right.
What's so funny?
Okay, guys.
I'm being serious here to my friend. I'm all ready. What I've done is I've popped my cake onto a stand because I want it to look very pretty for my picture. You can just do it on a board if you prefer, but I like to have it on a stand. And you want to do it at this point because I'm going to be adding ruffles around the bottom, so you can't really move it once you've put the ruffles on. I've got lots of different nozzles to do this cake with. You can do it in quite a simple way. If you check out my this morning video, we only use 3 different nozzles. So I've got a large leaf nozzle, a large sort of closed star nozzle with fine teeth, a smaller star nozzle, medium petal nozzle, a large open star nozzle. I've got a large petal nozzle. When I do these cakes, I sort of do the bottom first and then I sort of work my way up. That's the way I like to do it. Because if you do the top, then you can sometimes find it's kind of hard to kind of get where you need it. So to do the ruffle on the cake around the bottom, I'm just going to twist my bag. So I've got a small amount of buttercream so to control, and you want to have the fat part touching the cake, and the thin part outwards. And I'm just going to literally squeeze and wiggle.
Can do what, sorry?
Squeeze and wiggle like this. See? This is where Dan can insert some lovely music. Bum, 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 bum. So every so often I kind of like need to get a bit more buttercream, so I'll just squeeze a bit more in there. Lovely. You're trying to kind of keep them roughly the same size, you want it to be fairly neat. But the great thing about these Lambeth cakes is chuck loads of stuff on there. The more you chuck on there, it just looks lovely. There we go. So that's all my ruffles. And now I'm going to overlay the ruffles with a kind of shell border. So top tip for you guys, if you're new to piping, if you're new to cake decorating, have a little go on the surface before you go onto your cake so you can kind of get the feel for it. Feel how firmly you need to squeeze it, get the idea of the flow. So again, I'm just taking a little bit. I'm going to do a kind of snail trail. So you squeeze a blob and pull back. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. Okay? Have a play around with, you know, get yourself a set of nozzles. Have a play about with it. Just see what sort of effects you can do. You can do this, do all sorts of different things. Blobs. There's many things you can do with this nozzle, okay? Practice, practice, practice. And you can just pick it up and then plop it back into your bowl. Right, so let's crack on. It is important that you keep your nozzle clean. No one wants a dirty nozzle, do they? Squeeze, pull, squeeze, pull, squeeze, pull. It's quite a nice grinchy shade, isn't it? So don't worry too much where it, or I'll go back there and talk to my friends. When you get to the back, sometimes it doesn't quite join up okay, so you might have to just a little blob, but that's fine. There's always a back of the cake, so always start at the same place, so it's always going to be the back of the cake. Right, so now I'm going to add another border on the top of that with my smaller star nozzle. This bloke, he's exactly like the shell one I've just done, but he's just got smaller girth. Make sure that I start at the back. Squeeze, stop, squeeze. When you're doing it yourself, you kind of ideally need to be having it a bit more in front of you. I'm leaning over and stretching just so I can show you. And we're nearly coming to the back where we started. This already looks rather lovely and flouncy. So next I'm going to start onto my swags. So I'm going to use the medium petal nozzle for this. It makes a really nice kind of frill effect. You can also use this nozzle for making roses. Just cleaning my nose. How important it was to make those markings, because if you just do it by eye, it's never going to be the same drop, it's never going to be the same distance apart. It's got that kind of classic vintage piped vibe going on. Now it's got its ruffles. Next, I'm going to go back to my small star nozzle and I'm going to pipe over. Once you've got all of the nozzles loaded up and you actually get started on doing this, it's really, really fun. I love getting my piping bags out and piping on a cake. It's just really therapeutic actually. Now look at that, how nice is that looking? Sometimes it's quite nice to put little marks in the panel here.
That's fancy.
Oh, isn't it? I'm going to do a lovely little detail around the top of my cake, like a kind of frill. And for that, I am going to use, drum roll please, for large leaf nozzle, okay? What can it do? If you're going to make a flower and you might want to pipe a leaf, you just go like that, you see, it makes a leaf. But I'm actually going to use it to go all the way around the top. Do you know what, Dan? I don't actually like this one. Giving the leaf the sack, and I'm gonna just do, I think I'm just gonna do, oh, you, look at that. You get a lot of pressure on your bags and sometimes the bags just explode. Okay, so now I'm going to do a frill around the top of the cake using a large leaf nozzle. So I'm just going to go wiggle, 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 all the way around the top. It's like a wiggly snake. Already looking absolutely lovely, isn't it? So now I'm going to do some swirls on the top. I'm using a large star for this. You see these parts, and they're sort of like three joining parts. It's quite nice to go over the top of those with another detail just to kind of cover up the joins. So I'm going to use my small star nozzle and just do a swirl over the top of those joins. For the top, I'm just going to do some lovely whippy swirls around the edge using a large star nozzle. Let me check where my back was. There's my back, so that might not quite join together. So I want to know that round the front, I can get them all kind of next to each other without any gaps. So work from the front. It's like being an ice cream machine, isn't it? So luckily enough, it's worked out all right at the back of my cake. I can just do sort of like one fat one and that'll be okay. I think it'll be all right. I'm just going to get my cake off of there and just do a little bit of swirly detail just inside. For the pièce de résistance, I've got some stem-on cherries, and these look really fantastic when you just sit them on top of each buttercream swirl. See where my front's going to be. It's hard to choose because it's all so good. And there is your finished Lambeth cake. And there you have it. Not showing my teeth. A really beautiful Lambeth cake. Everything you need to make this cake nozzle-wise is going to be down there. But as I say, you can use really any nozzles you like. It's just all a matter of building it up. I hope you give it a go and let me know if you do what colour you choose. Bye.